Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to heal stomach ulcers as well as duodenal and pylorial ulcers as well. So first thing we got to do is understand what is going on, because that's the biggest problem with modern medicine, holistic medicine. They have no idea what is going on. So stomach ulcers only form in the lesser curvature of the stomach. You think that stomach ulcers would form down here because this is where most of the acid is stored. Most of the acid hangs out down here, but the truth is this tissue never ever ulcerates. It's only this tissue up here. This is ectodermal tissue. And we're going to use something called German New Medicine, or it's also referred to as German healing knowledge. It's understanding how the body is connected on the psyche, on our thoughts, brain, and on the organ level. What is going on? Because a particular stressful situation will start this special program and start the cell ulceration. So the way that this tissue responds in a conflict active state, it's going to be either a male territorial anger or a female identity conflict. When you are affected with this conflict shock, this stressful situation that catches you off guard, you're going to become conflict active. And the tissue here is slowly going to start ulcerating. Most people will not experience symptoms during this time. You have to be very conflict active for a long time. It has to be an intense conflict for the ulcers to actually show up and to form and become visible and start to hurt. So you have been conflict active with an identity or a male territorial anger conflict for a very long time. So we need to identify, first what we need to do is identify what type of conflict you might have experienced, the conflict theme. So in order to do that, the first thing we need to do is identify our handedness. This is important because depending on what handedness you are, it rewires your brain quite a bit. So the way that we do this is we do the clap test. So when I clap, my left hand is on top and it's moving. Some people clap like this. But what hand moves when you clap? Mine is the left hand. Even though I write right-handed and I do a lot of things right-handed, I am left-handed. It's the hand that moves. And if I try to clap with my left hand, I gotta put my arm out like this, like a weirdo. And then what you do next after that is you go to the link down below, learninggnm.com, and it will have like a little thing for you to use where it will tell you whether it was this or that, whether it was an identity or a male territorial anger conflict. So a male territorial anger conflict relates to anger in the environment, places in which one considers his or her domain, literally or figuratively. Typical territorial anger conflicts are disputes at home that you're angry about, feuds at the workplace, anger at school, anger in kindergarten, at the playground, anger in the seniors or nursing homes, anger in the hospital. Also, anger in the extended territory, such as the village, the town, the country where one lives. Anger, battles over land or property. Anger at the annoying noises in the house or coming from the neighborhood. You're angry about a fight over a parking place or over a toy. These are examples that can provoke territorial anger. This is straight from learninggnm.com. And anger. What are you angry about? And this is a male response to something. But let's keep in mind that a female could also experience this too, depending on her hormone status. We got trauma can change someone's hormone status. Birth control pills. So these are things we got to be aware of. But if you go to the website, it makes it very easy. You just there's like a chart right here, and you just do your handedness and what organ it's on, and then we can know what it is. So a female identity conflict refers to the inability to establish one's place or territory, position, place, or territory, literally or figuratively. An unwanted move, a change of schools, or a change in the workplace can activate this conflict. Feeling unsettled, not knowing where to belong, not finding one's place in a relationship, or within the family, the group, at work, or in culture or in society. Like, so if someone's gay and they're afraid to come out of the closet, that could be an identity conflict. If someone's an immigrant from another country and they're having a hard time getting settled down and stuff, that can be an identity conflict. But it can also be described as a decision conflict, not knowing what choice to make. So the first part in healing of stomach ulcers, because this tissue will not stop ulcerating until you resolve this conflict or until you greatly downgrade it. So we need to identify what it is first. So what I want people to do is they make a timeline. They just get out a piece of paper and they make a line and they go, all right, on this date, I remember I had my first heartburn. Or it was during my freshman year, first semester of high school. I remember I first got heartburn. That's when I first bought my Tums or something like that. When do you remember when do you remember going to the doctor? When do you remember those first symptoms start? It doesn't have to be super exact. It doesn't have to be the exact day, but let's try to get a year and what season it was. Or what grade did it happen? And then, so it takes a few months for these ulcers to develop. It depends on how intense the conflict is, but before you have to know what happened before that time, because it takes time for these ulcers to develop. Try to identify that territorial anger and or identity conflict. So identify your handedness. Go to learninggnm.com and identify whether it's an identity or a territorial anger conflict. Make that timeline and try to identify the conflict. And now that we know the conflict, let's say my territorial anger, I'm a male, so it's like my territorial, but I could also have an identity conflict depending on my hormone and status. And again, we'll figure that out by going on learninggnm.com. So let's say I have a next door neighbor that has a dog that barks in the middle of the night. How could I solve this conflict? I could talk to the neighbor. That could make the conflict worse. I could buy a dog barker thing and hide it in their yard, so every time the dog barks, it gets the little sound thing and they stop barking. I could move. I could think about it differently. Play music. What can I do to resolve or downgrade this issue? If it's identity conflict, let's try to resolve an identity conflict. Let's say I'm gay and I don't know whether to come out of the closet or not. You could just rip the Band-Aid off and come out of the closet. Tell someone, tell your dog, tell your cat. Maybe that will downgrade the conflict. Maybe you could tell a stranger. Maybe you could tell your brother or your sister or your best friend before you go and you tell your parents. How can we resolve this conflict or downgrade it? This is what we need to do, because as long as this conflict is active, this tissue responds in the conflict active phase with cell ulceration or cell loss, cell ulceration. And then in the healing phase, once we do resolve that conflict, it will be cell proliferation. And then during that time, someone could be diagnosed with gastritis. We're not going to go into that because we're just focusing on how to get rid of the ulcers right now. So don't be alarmed, because when you resolve this conflict, you're going to get symptoms. You're going to, because these ulcers are still there and they're going to take a while to heal. So there'll still be pain, but if you let's say you come out of the closet, or you shoot the neighbor's dog. I don't know how you resolve this conflict, and shortly afterwards you get a lot of symptoms in your stomach. You get like vomiting and very bad gut pain, where you're like sick and you got to call off work or call off school. That's a sign that you just went into the healing phase. You went into the healing phase. Water's going to rush into the site, to the edema. Inflammation is going to rush into this tissue right here in an attempt to heal this tissue. Now, when we're in the healing phase, we've got to watch out for tracks and conflict relapses. Maybe every time I hear a dog bark, my body gets reminded of this issue, and I go back into the conflict active phase, and my cells start to ulcerate, and it hurts. Let's say I have a conflict relapse. Let's say my neighbors get another dog. Conflict relapse. Oh my God, the conflict's back to haunt me. So those are things we got to watch out for when we're in the healing phase. And some things some people can do to overall help themselves get through this situation is to take relaxants and avoid stimulants. So we're talking about the autonomic nervous system here. So when you're conflict active, your autonomic nervous system, rest and digest, fight or flight, your fight or flight is just like, and this rapid fire of thoughts and crazy activity in your psyche, in your thoughts, this increased processor speed, I guess you could say, is the biological purpose of this is to help you run across more thoughts in an effort to help you resolve this conflict. So, but the more conflict active you are, the more fight or flight you are, the more intense these symptoms are going to be. And I find people with stomach ulcers, they are just like wired. They can't sit down. They can't focus for more than 2 seconds. They need to take relaxants. Like they need to take CBD oil or something. They need to, instead of having coffee and caffeine and energy drinks, they need to relax. They need to relax. Maybe breathing. Like it calms you down. You need to relax. So this is what you need to do to get rid of your stomach ulcers. You need to resolve your identity or territorial anger conflict. That's what you need to do, and don't be alarmed when you go through gastritis symptoms. That will pass if we clear up our tracks and we avoid conflict relapses. So my name is Mike, the Heal Your Gut Guy. I would appreciate it if you subscribe and hit the thumbs up button, where I will share with you German new medicine, German healing knowledge on how to heal your gut without the boring, bland diets and without the dangerous, expensive drugs. I've helped many people heal, and I've helped myself heal as well, and I want to help you guys get better the easy and the fast way. I have a lot of free information on my YouTube channel. You can click around and browse around. Or if you're serious about healing your gut, I have a program that comes with a ton of videos on German new medicine and what foods to eat and what not to eat, all that fun stuff. And it has a Facebook group where I answer all your questions. Every single day I'll answer all your questions. And we do a Zoom live Q&A twice a week where you can talk to me face to face, and I'll answer all your questions and help you understand what's going on from the German new medicine perspective, and how to work through these emotional issues and different strategies to help get you through this stuff so you can get back to your life as soon as possible. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.